Nicole Huntsman here from moderncosmic.com. We have got our sun sign compatibility here on this video. If you know what sun sign means, fast forward to the timestamp you see or the description of the video. So in Western astrology, we take the year, the 12 calendar months, okay, and we divide them up according to the Earth's relationship to the sun. And this makes sense if you think back in the day when we were farmers. The movement of the sun, it's actually our movement, the tilt of our Earth relative to the sun and how it affects the seasons was very important. Springtime, time to plant, summertime to take care of and tend the fields, and of course fall time to harvest, and then winter was time to preserve the things that you had stored and make them last till spring again. Now, in astrology, we look at these 4 important dates that are repeatable, they happen every year, and they are the spring equinox, the summer solstice, the fall equinox, and the winter solstice, okay? We have our zodiac signs all set up according to these solar events. In the springtime, when we have our spring equinox, March 21st, this is that time of year when the equator of the Earth is facing the sun, directly, and the Earth is level, so to speak. So, we are on an axis and the Earth tilts. At this point in the year, we're level. That's why you can spin an egg and it will spin. Now, that's the beginning of the zodiac year, and really should be the beginning of our year. It would make sense to have the time when we go from winter, where we have more darkness than light, to the time when it's equal. We have an equal amount of daylight and equal amount of darkness, and then we move into the time of the year, the spring, when we have more light and less darkness each day, okay, until we hit the summer solstice, where we have the most light, more light, and less of the darkness. So with the zodiac, your sun sign falls during a month between those 4 events. So your sun sign is going to fall into one of these segments, okay? We've got the 12 months divided up into 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, according to those solar events. And then in each of those sections, we have 3 zodiac signs, okay? Your sun sign is important in that it shows your general life force. If you think of the sun is the star in our solar system. It is the mass, the giant mass, relative to us anyway, that is holding our solar system together. Without the sun, without our star, we wouldn't be here, and if something happened to our sun, we would all die, we would perish. We eat food that's made from the energy of the sun. We are literally made of sun, which is pretty cool. Someone's sun sign shows you the basic premise upon which their personality is built. It's like a canvas that we're going to paint upon. It doesn't have any paint on it yet, it's just the canvas. Is it wood? Is it metal? Is it canvas? Is it a panel? Is it round? Is it square? How big is it? How little is it? The zodiac sign will sort of illuminate, and it will explain and make granular sort of this very basic part of what we have to work with, okay, with the personality. So it's the first step in building, when you're looking at an astrology birth chart, it's the first thing you look at because you're going to build upon it, all right? And then all the brushstrokes come with the moon and all the angular houses and the planets and the aspects between the planets. That's when it becomes a beautiful picture. But until then, it's just you're one of the 12 zodiac signs. This is very general. Sun signs are general. It's a general vibe. You've got someone who's kind of more of a feeler, someone who's more of a thinker. But there are all different types of feelers and there are all different types of thinkers, okay? We get that granularity by looking at the entire birth chart and by putting the 2 people together, okay? You can have a feeler and a thinker get together and be really happy if they've got other things in their birth chart that make nice compatibility interaspects. If for some reason your sun signs don't get along well, let's say we've got someone who is, let's say we've got a Capricorn and an Aquarius, very different energies. Capricorn's conservative, Aquarius is an iconoclast and does their own thing. On the surface, sun sign wise, these 2 aren't going to jive perfectly. But if you look underneath, maybe they have moons that are both in water, and it gives them an emotional warmth, or it gives them an emotional depth to the cooler Capricorn Aquarius facade. There's another thing you want to look at between your compatibility charts. There are several, but another important primary planetary aspect that you want to look at, or planetary placement, I should say, that you want to look at. And I'm going to talk about this at the end of the video, so stay tuned, watch the compatibility, and at the very end I'll explain to you how to find If your sun compatibility isn't great, there's another thing you can look at that will indicate whether or not the two of you are going to have long-lasting happiness together, or if it's going to be sort of a no-win battle, okay? All right, let's get on to our sun signs, and please leave me comments if you have questions, and this is going to be a lot of fun. Aries. Aries are our people born March 21st to April 19th. This is the first sign in the zodiac. These people are born during the time of the year when we're moving from the wintertime into the spring. So there's a vitality. There is an outgoing movement of energy, just like a plant would be blooming, a tulip would pop up through the soil. That's sort of the same thing that I see with an Aries. They're dynamic, they're outwardly focused, passionate, they need fuel, and they are fighters. Now, Aries also, these are the independent soldiers of the zodiac. They're our protagonists. They're the first person, the individual setting out on this journey of the zodiac. And as you move through the different zodiac signs, you'll see how this journey progresses. Self-starters like Aries, a lot of times they're perfectly comfortable going it alone. They're quite comfortable in leadership roles. They prefer to be in leadership roles. And so partnerships sometimes for Aries can be a little tricky. While they crave it, that's human nature to desire closeness and warmth and affection from other people. Aries sometimes don't always know how to go about getting it. They can be a little bit combative and a little what's the word, scratchy, in their relationships. But overall, these are brave, inspiring, self-starting, innovative, wonderful people that they just require a partner with some patience, and a partner who also is willing to be just as passionate and fiery as they are, but maybe perhaps a little bit more grounded. On the shadow side of Aries, we do have an individual who can be a little self-centered. They can be a little like the fool from the tarot deck, stepping off the cliff while the dog is barking. Don't go that way, They can sometimes be overly optimistic, or they can perhaps, instead of planning, they just want to jump into something and get going, and quite impulsive, okay? They can be a little difficult to teach at times. And they can sometimes lack the emotional tact that is required in love relationships and just general interpersonal relating. But if you have patience with an Aries, they are not the type to hold a grudge. They will usually kind of, they've let it out and then they're good after. So typically they're quite forgiving, and they have this childlike nature to them where it's almost a naivete and an innocence. They don't really mean anything by it. They just sometimes, like I said, they're not necessarily easy to teach, and so they have to kind of do things over and over again until they figure them out. Aries in love. These are individuals, right? They like to make the first move. Aries prefers being the one doing the chasing, at least initially. Even Aries females, with an Aries female, they can sometimes be accused of being too direct or too forward with men. In our culture, at least, I'm here in the United States, in Western culture, traditionally men were the ones who would take that lead role. So female Aries sometimes can be accused of being ball busters or bitches or too brave or too headstrong, or these things. And I say bowl to that. I think that Aries we need Aries men and women. These are the ones that are the brave, courageous individuals that will go for something. Now, in love, they need passion. They need passion, they need sex. They're a very physical sign, and they actually need fights, believe it or not. And when I say fights, I don't mean, out and out emotional drama, but they like a little bit of a little bit of a tension or friction in their relationships. They need that. If there was someone who doesn't really push back or lean back against them or was always pleasing them, they'll get annoyed and they'll get bored. And you don't want an annoyed, bored Aries, because you won't have them for long. They will be out of there, okay? Aries expectations in love. Because they're so passionate, they give the passionate spontaneously, freely, just whenever they want to. They're not the most dependable, they're going to do it when they want to do it, unless they have a lot of earth and other things in their chart. And even then, they kind of have to be the boss about when they're going to express their love. You can't really boss an Aries around. They can be this sort of childlike. They can be a little bit selfish, where they want all of their partner's love and attention, but they don't really have a problem with flirting or this kind of thing with other people, and nothing is meant by it. But they They need to have their freedom, but they also need to know that they are number one, that there's no one else in their partner's life. Aries' biggest fear, and this goes for all the zodiac signs, you look at their strength, and that's always tells you where their biggest fear is. With an Aries, you do have a bold, brave, enterprising individual, okay? But on the inside, they're like a little kid. The reason they're bold and brave is because it just doesn't occur to them that there's going to be an issue with them just striking it out and doing their thing and saying what they think. And, you know, they haven't, it's almost like their soul hasn't had enough experience, it hasn't been battered around enough to have sort of learned this lesson. So their biggest fear is actually they're quite vulnerable on the inside. This is like a little kid on the inside, and really what they really want is love, affection, warmth, and belonging. And I suppose it's what most of us want, but because Aries puts on this whole facade of being brave and independent, not needing anyone, you sort of just assume they really are not needing anyone, but that's actually quite incorrect. So anyone who can recognize the innocence in an Aries and can give them their space to be themselves, but also that needs them. The person that is emotionally brave enough to say to an Aries, I need your bravery and courage to keep me safe, to protect me. That is a way to tap into the part of the Aries that, yes, the part that's vulnerable, but they can project that onto you. It's a way for them to protect in an indirect way their own inner vulnerabilities, okay? So it's a little trick. Capricorn Sun Sign. So Capricorn, this is December 22nd through January 19th. These are the goats. Now, when you think of Capricorn, I want you to think of an earthy individual. What does that mean? So when you're earthy, that means the earth is something you can see. You touch it, taste it, throw it, make something out of it. That's earth. It's here, practical. It's in the sensory reality that we experience here in this three-dimensional world, this three-dimensional space. Capricorn is like the king of this place. This is a sign ruled by Saturn. Saturn traditionally is Kronos, the god of time. Kronos also is the father who eats his children, because as you know, the mother births us and introduces us to this mortal world. Thanks, Mom. And then that also means she kills us through introducing us to our father, Saturn, Kronos, right? Who is going to eventually eat us. Gobble, gobble, gobble. Yum. Okay. So Capricorn types are serious folks, practical folks. Even if you've got a fun Capricorn, there's a quality to them that realizes the realities of life. This is why with business, they're good at creating a plan, working a plan, planning your work, working your plan. Okay, that's Capricorn. They're practical. They're here. They realize the vicissitudes of life, and they're willing to plan accordingly. Now, with love and romance, when you've got a sun sign that has to do with, you know, practicality, it's kind of not that sentimental. It's cold, detached energy. Capricorn is a colder, more detached energy. It is one that is focused on business. It's all business, all right? So you're going to look at the rest of this chart, unless you're also a Capricorn. And remember, your sun sign is how you sort of operate your life, all right? So you could have someone who's quite emotional and sweet and loving, but they're Capricorn sun, but they've got, for example, I've got a client, Capricorn sun, he has a Cancer moon, great businessman, fantastic at, you know, setting it all up and making money and making it work, but his heart is really soft and sweet. He's very tender and loving to the people that are close to him, and so, you know, your sun sign is how you outwardly operate and express your ego. So in a love relationship, Capricorns are the types, because they're earth, they're here to build something. They are not interested in dating just to kind of screw around. You'd have to have a lot of air signs or air energy or Uranian energy on that sun or moon to make this person who's really flighty. For the most part, Capricorn, they're wanting to build something. So in relationship, they're quite traditional. Their ultimate end game is they want a partnership, and they want it with someone who is excellent. They have a high standard. They are looking for, you know, if you look at the birth chart, when you look at the zodiac, how it naturally falls on the wheel, you've got Capricorn at the very top, that 10th house. That's the Capricorn house in Western astrology, in the 10th house. It's different in Vedic. I mean, it's shaped differently, but Anyway, so 10th house there at the top, and this is a cardinal house. This is the house that has to do with how we appear in the world around us. So status is a thing that's important to Capricorns, even if you've got a pretty, like, it depends on their other, obviously things on their other planets, where the other planets are placed, but they'll be interested in status, whether it's nice clothing or a nice home or a job that's important, or they're seen as important, or doing something that's serious work. There's a discernment and a defining quality to Capricorn that they will apply to how they approach life. High function Capricorns, you've got someone who is focused, driven, there's an ambition there, there's a loyalty to Capricorn. 10th house is an earth sign. There's a nature where it likes to, it'll be pickier though about the friends that they'll let in many times if you've got someone who's pure Capricorn. Remember, this is pure Capricorn. And it can be within female Capricorn, sometimes you can see like a bitchiness, or like that's not good enough for me kind of a thing, which is great. I love it. Be picky. There's pickiness. There's a pickiness to Capricorn men as well, actually. They have an idea of what they're looking for, and they're not going to waste their time going down roads that are inefficient and impractical. That doesn't make any sense to them. So they desire intimacy as well with a partner, because they're so much of Capricorn is in this sort of serious, sometimes cynical place. A partner who has a sweetness, who is very real and practical and here and grounded, but sweet, really appeals to a Capricorn, especially Capricorn. I mean, that's like goes both directions, but they're traditional and conservative, and so Capricorn male many times will like a female that is feminine, and Capricorn's quite masculine energy. It's like the general. It's the goat, but I think of it as the general. Someone in charge, they've got a mission. They've got a crystallized plan in their head, and they're bringing it from their brain out into the world around us. And so they naturally makes them good leaders. Many times they're good at following rules or being the bureaucracy that creates the rules. And this can even be like a mom, a stay-at-home mom. She would be quite have her idea of how things should be run in the home, and be kind of systematized and organized with the way that she would run her home. That would be Capricorn. They're also solid and grounded. There's a grounded practicality. Again, it's that earthy dutifulness comes with Capricorn as well. So with a low function Capricorn, you've got someone who can be a little picky. There is a discernment there, and there's an understanding of quality, whether it's a quality of a human being, quality of a product, quality of the way a business is being structured and run. They can see when something does not meet their standards of what it should be meeting. Okay, so they're the rule makers many times. They're the ones that have a hard time then when other people are breaking the rules. They can be judgmental of others, and also if you've got a really conservative Capricorn, so we're saying like a pure Capricorn, they can be annoyed with iconoclasts, so with people who kind of go against the grain of what the status quo has suggested you should be doing. They don't like that. They can be cold and a little bit distant, and sometimes place practicality or the system or the mechanics to how you're going to make something happen, the plan, over the emotions of the people that are involved in the plan, or the mechanizations of the organization, or this kind of thing. They can be a little bureaucratic, and you can apply that in a relationship as well. But at the same time, they also show up. They're showing up, so they want you to show up as well. So sometimes you have to follow the plan and the system so that everyone shows up the way they're supposed to, if that makes sense. They can be workaholics. They can sometimes place work over pleasure. They can be, and that can make them be stick in the mud sometimes. They can be a little, boring if you had a pure Capricorn. This is me. I have a fire moon, so what do I know? But they can be a little, just serious. They can be serious. And they can also sometimes struggle with emotional expression. Look at the moon. That's very important, especially Capricorn moon, or someone whose moon making aspect to Saturn or is in the 10th house. They will have emotional control issues where they want to control their emotions. When emotions come out, they want to restrict it. They want to put rules on it and keep it in check, put reins on it. That can happen a little bit with Capricorn Sun, but that's more just how they sort of live their life. They'll be structured in the way that they live their life. Okay, let's see. Capricorn in love. So you got this personality type that has a seriousness to them. And the way they approach things is with a sort of seriousness, like I can get this done. I can make this happen, make this work. And in love, they do the same thing. They in business and in other parts of their life, they're able to get shit done. So in their relationship, they think they should also be able to get shit done, and they should make it work. So sometimes if you have a Capricorn who's in an unrequited love situation, that's going to be really frustrating, because usually they can get things to work the way that they want them to work. So, but when they're in a relationship where everything's good, you've got a partner who, or you are the partner, the Capricorn, who wants foundation, who wants to build something together. They want a serious long-term commitment. They want to know that there's reliability there on both ends. Ultimately, Capricorn in that 10th house is opposite the 4th house, Moon, Cancer, 4th house, which is the home. They would not have purpose without the 4th house. So a Capricorn ultimately needs home. They need their partner. They need to know that all the work they're doing is feeding this place, ultimately, the mother, the home, the family, because that's ultimately where they're going to get their safety and security from. You see, it's like a loop. These two need one another. So if you have someone who is single, who's got strong Capricorn in their chart, or strong 10th house placements in their chart, and they don't have a partner, they don't have a grounded sense of home, you'll have an individual who's all work and perhaps no play, and they focus all their energy on work, and ultimately it's going to lead to a life of probably not feeling totally fulfilled, because their purpose to be seen and to create status will never really truly be witnessed by anyone who is intimately involved with them. So that's a side note. But Capricorns in love, they need to feel like they've got that partnership, they've got that home and that soft place. And they're, as romantic partners, they're dependable and lovable, or loving. You know, they take it seriously. They take their relationship seriously. So they are good partners. Capricorn's expectations in love, they expect loyalty, and they expect fidelity, loyalty, a certain sort of respect. Capricorn men want to take care of the people they love, because that's what they know how to do. So many times they are, it's quite traditional, where they have a wife or a girlfriend or someone that they care for, they financially take care of. Capricorn females, on the flip, many times you'll see them being attracted to men who are powerful, or they themselves will be career women. You got to look at the whole chart, of course, but if you've got a 10th house sun, no matter what the sign, it could be Pisces. This is a female who needs to be doing something ambitious with her career, and may have a hard time sometimes finding home. And it's the same thing with a Capricorn woman. She may look for home in places where she's not truly in love. This can be a placement, Capricorn females, especially if you've got a 10th house Capricorn sun, there's a desire for status, for being important in life. And so they'll do that with the partner sometimes, or through their career, which becomes their partner. They become married to their career. I see that a lot in 10th house sun placements. But also Capricorn in love, they're very affectionate and they're lusty. This is the horny goat, this is a lusty, earthy sign. And as far as Capricorn Venus and Capricorn Mars, these are people who have some staying power to their sexuality. They're very earthy and sensual and in the body, and kinky, but in a really earthy, down dirty kind of a way, because it's earth. And they'll be the types too in love where they want to impress their partner. They want to do it right. They're really worried about that. If they want to do it the best of, it's Capricorn. They're the best lover you've ever had. So they'll have to prove that to you. Capricorn's expectations. Okay. Did I already do that one? Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Capricorn's expectations in love. I may have already done this. Okay. Capricorn's expectations in love. They require loyalty, and they require respect and admiration. They also require, I think I already did this, didn't I? Okay. Capricorn's biggest secret fear would be they're afraid of failing and as seen as such. So Capricorns are afraid of being seen as big losers, They're not here to be losers. They're here to be successful and to be of high status, however that may play out, depending on, again, Moon and Venus placement and where that sun is placed. Whatever it is that they do, they're going to do it with a certain level of excellence, or at least they'll feel most happy when they're operating from a place of excellence and doing it the right way. Remember, status quo is also important, looking to the past, how things were done in the past, and doing it the same or better, not necessarily changing the way it's been done, but just improving upon the way it's been done. That's Capricorn. And they'll feel if they're unable to meet that, they'll feel a sense of failure, and that for them is a big fear, to be seen as someone who needs charity or somebody who is this little person who merits pity. That's a bad place for Capricorn. They don't want to be there. So admire Capricorn, see them for all their strengths, build them up, and you will be well on your road to happiness. Okay. Aries and Capricorn. Okay, here we've got two signs that square each other. We've got this fiery cardinal Aries and this earthy cardinal Capricorn. Both of these people are interested in leadership. They're interested in starting new things. They just kind of come at it from different places. So Aries is really about the action that needs to be taken. So they don't really like to plan as much as they like to just take action. Capricorn is more about the planning side of things and then delegating that action out to other people. So in a relationship, and also Aries is very much about the new idea, the fresh new, the seed that is germinating and popping out of the soil. Capricorn is more about looking to the past to see how things were done in the past. So that is a fundamental difference in the way that they look at the world. Now, this doesn't have to be a bad thing. It can actually be a good thing. They can teach each other things. You know, the Capricorn can help to ground the Aries and can say, oh, you have this great idea. You know, people have tried this, this, and this in the past. Let's apply that to your great idea and, you know, take it even further. And vice versa, the Aries can come to the Capricorn and say, okay, I see you're doing this, this, and this from the past, but have you thought of this yet? And then help the Capricorn move to a new level. So they can be really compatible in that way. I actually like many times the signs that square each other or oppose each other for relationship, because I feel like there's enough passion and energy and spark and vitality in the differences that it makes it more of an interesting pairing and not too easy, because that feels like that's platonic. Okay. Edit. Okay, long-term interaction between these two, like I said, sort of this serious business level, you know, or at least even with how you are living your life. They can really teach each other a lot about, Aries can bring some freshness to Capricorn, Capricorn can bring some grounding and practicality to Aries. So that can be, you know, that can be a nice combination. But of course, this is also, they're fundamentally quite different. Aries might get bored of Capricorn, and Capricorn might feel like Aries needs to like buckle down and get serious, or Aries needs to commit, or, you know, what are we doing with this relationship? Where is it headed? And Aries likes to kind of leave things a little open-ended, typically. So that can be an area of conflict. Harmony-wise, though, you know, these two can, if they're interested. In particular, I like Capricorn male, Aries female. That feels like one where there is a strong element of building something together. Again, though, I feel like the Aries female is going to get bored with the Capricorn male. The one good thing is the Aries female is not really going to be able to step all over the Capricorn male. He's not going to have that. He's a little bit more serious, and it's quite a masculine placement. So even though it's a feminine sign, it's Earth, but it's Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn, which is like, you know, the father. So Aries female might actually have a nice match. But overall, you know, this is one that can work. Look at the other, as we talk about in the end of the video, look at the other things that you have in the charts to see if there's going to be long-term compatibility. How others may see the partnership. There can be an element, again, this parent and child thing, or this element of one person taking care of the other one when you've got Capricorn and Aries, or an element that it just feels serious and kind of all business, and that's lacking perhaps in emotion, or it's lacking in, you know, it's not a real relationship. Like people can look at it and say, what's really going on there between those two? It's kind of a mismatch many times.